When love felt like home. Part 1. I never believed that a single ordinary day could change the direction of an entire life. For most of my 20s, my days looked exactly the same. I woke up early, rushed through breakfast, fought traffic, worked long hours, came home tired, and repeated everything again the next day. Life wasn't bad. It just wasn't exciting. I had friends. I had a decent job. I had plans for the future. But something always felt missing. Every evening, I would sit by the window of my small apartment and watch people walking outside. Some were laughing with friends. Some were holding hands with someone they loved. Some looked happy simply because they had someone waiting for them at home. I often wondered what that felt like. What did it feel like to have a person who knew your favorite song? A person who remembered the stories you forgot you told? A person who could make a terrible day feel better with just one message at the time? I didn't know I was only days away from finding out it happened on a rainy Thursday. The weather forecast had promised sunshine, but instead dark clouds covered the sky. By noon, rain was pouring down so heavily that the streets looked like rivers. I hated forgetting my umbrella. And that day, of course, I had forgotten it when work finally ended. I stood under the office entrance, staring at the rain. Great. Just great. I checked my phone. No rides available. The bus was delayed. The rain wasn't stopping anytime soon. I sighed. Looks like we're stuck. Here, the voice came from beside me. I turned my head. A woman stood a few feet away, holding a coffee cup. She wore a dark blue jacket and looked just as annoyed by the weather as I felt. For a second, neither of us said anything. Then she smiled. Not the kind of smile people use to be polite. A real smile, the kind that reaches the eyes. I smiled back. Yeah, I said. Seems that way. She laughed softly. I swear the weather app lies every day. I chuckled. At this point, I trust random guesses more than weather forecasts. She laughed again. And for some reason, hearing her laugh made the entire day feel lighter. The rain continued falling. People came and went. But somehow we kept talking. At first, it was small things. The weather. Traffic. Work. Coffee. Movies. Nothing important. Yet every conversation felt easy. Natural. Like talking to someone I had known much longer than a few minutes. I learned that her name was Emma. She worked in a building nearby. She loved bookstores. She hated horror movies. She drank too much coffee, and she talked with a kind of warmth that made people feel comfortable. Eventually, the rain became lighter. People started leaving. Emma glanced outside. Looks like it's finally slowing down. I nodded. Looks like it. For a moment, neither of us moved. It felt strange. Like neither of us wanted the conversation to end. Then she looked at me and smiled. Well, stranger. I laughed. Stranger, we've been talking for almost an hour and still don't know each other's last names. Good point. She smiled. I'm Emma. I extended my hand. I'm Jake. Her hand felt warm. Despite the cold weather. Nice to officially meet you. Jake. Nice to meet you too. There was a brief silence. One of those moments where both people are thinking the same thing, but neither wants to say it first. Then she surprised me. "Do you like coffee?" I blinked. "That's a very important question." No. I love coffee." She pointed at the nearly empty cup in her hand. "Good answer." I laughed. Then she said something that changed everything. "Maybe we should grab one sometime. When it's not raining." My heart skipped a beat. Not dramatically, not like in the movies. Just enough for me to realize that this conversation suddenly mattered much more than I expected. I tried to sound casual. "Yeah, I'd like that." She smiled. "Good." We exchanged phone numbers. Such a simple thing. A few digits. Nothing special. Yet when I watched her walk away, those numbers felt more valuable than anything else I owned. The entire ride home, I kept looking at my phone. Not because she had texted. She hadn't. I just couldn't stop smiling. When I finally reached my apartment, I threw my keys onto the counter and sat on the couch. The room felt different. Nothing had changed. The furniture was the same. The walls were the same. The silence was the same. But somehow everything felt brighter. For the first time in months, I wasn't thinking about work. I wasn't thinking about deadlines. I wasn't thinking about bills. I was thinking about Emma. About her smile, about her laugh. About the way conversations seemed effortless around her. Hours passed. I told myself not to text first. Then I told myself it wouldn't matter. Then I told myself to wait. Then I ignored my own advice. I picked up my phone. Before I could overthink it, I typed a message. Made it home without drowning. I stared at the screen. Sent. Too late now. A minute passed. Then another. Then my phone buzzed. I grabbed it immediately. Good. I was starting to think I'd need to organize a rescue team. I laughed out loud. The conversation continued. One message became 10. 10 became 20. Then 50. Before I knew it, midnight had arrived. Yet neither of us seemed interested in ending the conversation. We talked about childhood memories, embarrassing moments. Favorite foods. Dream vacations. Goals. Fears. Random thoughts. The strange thing wasn't how much we talked. The strange thing was how easy it felt. Like there was no pressure. No pretending. No trying to impress each other. Just honesty. When I finally looked at the clock, it was nearly 2 in the morning. I shook my head. I hadn't stayed up this late talking to someone in years. Then another message appeared. "You should probably sleep." I smiled. Probably. Big day tomorrow. True. A few seconds passed. Then she sent another message. "I'm glad it rained today." I stared at the screen. For some reason, those 6 words affected me more than they should have, because I knew exactly what she meant. I typed slowly. "Yeah, me too." After that, the conversation finally ended. I placed my phone on the nightstand and turned off the light. The room became dark, but sleep didn't come immediately. Instead, I lay there smiling like an idiot. Thinking about a woman I had met only hours earlier, thinking about how strange life could be. How thousands of ordinary days could pass without anything remarkable happening. And then suddenly one rainy afternoon could change everything. As I closed my eyes, one thought stayed with me. Maybe this was nothing. Maybe it was just a conversation. Maybe it would fade away in a few days. Or maybe this was the beginning of the story I had been waiting for my entire life. At that moment, I had no idea how important Emma would become. I had no idea how much happiness she would bring, and I definitely had no idea that our very first coffee date was only 3 days away, a date that neither of us would ever forget. To be continued.